It was the online poker scandal that almost never was. When Greg Pearson and John Carl first began developing the software that would eventually become Ultimate Bet and Absolute Poker, they weren't trying to build a virtual gambling empire. They were actually building a massive multiplayer online role-playing game. Think Minecraft, or more accurate at that time, RuneScape. However, Pearson was a poker player in his free time. And as his trips to Las Vegas became more frequent, he crossed paths with a man who would change everything. Russ Hamilton, the 1994 World Series of Poker main event champion. Some critics might say this is where it all went wrong. As Pearson and Hamilton grew closer, Hamilton suggested that the software would be far better suited for poker than video games. He also offered something even more valuable: his reputation and network in the poker world. And just like that, in 2001, Ultimate Bet was born. Hamilton quickly brought credibility to the site, recruiting affiliates and ambassadors like Maria Ho and Prahlad Friedman. But the biggest name attached to Ultimate Bet was none other than the poker brat himself, Phil Hellmuth, the 1989 WSOP main event champion. After the 2003 Chris moneymaker boom, online poker exploded and Ultimate Bet exploded right along with it. The site became one of the premier destinations online, offering Texas Hold'em, Omaha, and even private tables where players could host their own games. Everything looked legitimate. But behind the scenes, Russ Hamilton was still pulling strings within the company. And at one point, he went directly to executives claiming he suspected cheating on the site. Oh, the irony. Hamilton suggested creating a super user tool, software that would allow observers to see players' hole cards, supposedly to catch cheaters. As a safeguard, developers added a 30-second to 5-minute delay to avoid any abuse during live table play. The tool was never meant to be updated and to be phased out by the site's next software update. But Hamilton wasn't done. He returned to Pearson, insisting a new version be created, this time with zero delay. For reasons still unclear, Pearson hired an independent contractor to build the new tool. What emerged became known by online poker players as God Mode. God Mode couldn't be run on the same computer as a playing account, but that hardly mattered. Running it on a second device allowed a user to see every single hole card on the site in real time. With a second computer or a partner relaying information, you can play poker knowing exactly what your opponent was holding. And upon discovering the existence of God Mode, people did just that. The earliest known abuse dates back to 2004, but no one exploited God Mode quite like Russ Hamilton. Using his celebrity status, Hamilton would challenge high-profile players to heads-up matches. While his opponents thought they were battling a WSOP champion, Hamilton was seeing every card they had. Behind the scenes, he had help. A so-called fraud manager named Carolyn Hike handled account creation, username changes, and withdrawals, allowing Hamilton to hop from account to account, draining tables and disappearing without a trace. By the time it was all said and done, Hamilton and his associates had stolen over $22 million from Ultimate Bet players, and somehow no one noticed. That was until 2007, when Ultimate Bet's sister site, Absolute Poker, faced cheating allegations of its own. Once the superuser tool was exposed there, online sleuths turned their attention to Ultimate Bet. On the poker forum 2+2, players like Mike Fosco and Michael Josem began analyzing suspicious accounts. One stood out above the rest, a user named Neo. In an interview with 60 Minutes, Josem, a mathematician, had this to say.
We did the mathematical analysis to find that they were winning at about 15 standard deviations above the mean, which is approximately equivalent to winning a 1 in a million jackpot 6 consecutive times.
Then things got even weirder. The account Neo was registered to Chaim Bajayo, who was only 13 years old at the time. Either these guys had just discovered the greatest poker prodigy of all time, or something was very, very wrong. It unfortunately was the latter. See, Chaim Bajayo was the nephew of Eli Bajayo, a controversial figure in online poker. And Eli just so happened to be friends with, take a guess, Russ Hamilton. Once media attention exploded, Ultimate Bet had no choice. In March of 2008, the company launched its own internal investigation. Their conclusion? Over 21.2 million had been stolen through software abuse. Ultimate Bet claimed all victims were fully reimbursed and paid a $1.5 million fine to the Kanawaki Gambling Commission. Although, shockingly, they were allowed to continue operations. But the clock was already ticking. On April 15, 2011, poker's version of Judgment Day arrived, Black Friday. The US government seized Ultimate Bet's assets and exposed a brutal truth. The site held just $15 million against $54 million in player deposits. To put it simply, Ultimate Bet was broke. That revelation killed a class action lawsuit before it could even begin, as there was no money left to fight over. But while legal justice never came, the poker world was not done searching for someone to blame. Players like Mike Matusow and Claude Friedman went public with their experiences involving Russ Hamilton. And then, one man dropped the hammer. Travis McCarr, Hamilton's longtime tech associate, released audio recordings of Hamilton admitting to stealing at least $17 million, along with documents that left little doubt about what happened or who was responsible. Still, victims never saw their day in court. Ultimate Bet's parent company was eventually sold off for scraps, leaving behind nothing but unanswered questions and damaged reputations. Affiliates like Phil Hellmuth saw their legacy take a hit. Though the poker brat distanced himself from the brand, he may not look back entirely bitterly. After all, he gifted Ultimate Bet founder Greg Pearson his 12th WSOP bracelet in 2012. An interesting footnote in poker history, to say the least. As for Ultimate Bet, what remains is a cautionary tale, a reminder that in poker, whether online or at the table, the biggest danger isn't the cards, it's the people who hold them.